JavaScript is now an expectation of the web, the same way HTML and CSS is. 0 kilobytes of JS sounds great. For some things, it probably is. But I'll put it frankly, I don't care. The vast majority of web users are running JavaScript. And I don't mean vast majority like 70%. I mean vast majority like 99.5% plus. All users are 0JS users at some point, like when the page loads and the JavaScript isn't there, but they're not a 0JS user for long. And once that JS is cached, it lets you do so many important things. A sentiment I see a lot, especially from like the Astro and Quick side of things, is you should never ship JavaScript that isn't necessary. You should be able to use an application without JavaScript if that application's use case doesn't necessarily need JavaScript. And I hear you. I understand. It is silly that there are so many websites that are just a form that have like 400 kilobytes of JavaScript loading all of the like Ajax-y behaviors in order to make a form work. And I understand that concern. It's a real problem, but I don't think it's a common one. And I really don't think there are that many projects that are being started with stuff like Next.js are just a form. And on top of that, there are so many benefits and necessities that most services have that require JavaScript, be it client-side routing, analytics, be it crash reports, be it any type of bug or behavior reports. In order to make good software on the web, you have to use JavaScript. It isn't optional. I don't think it makes sense to pursue 0JS as a goal. I think we kid ourselves when we push that as hard as we do. And I'm not saying that every app should be bloated and full of a ton of JavaScript. I'm simply saying JavaScript is now an expectation of the web, the same way HTML and CSS is. And it's hard for me to hear something like you should be able to ship 0JS and not hear you should be able to ship 0CSS. Because when I say that, it's like you should be able to build a website with no CSS. That just kind of sounds silly, right? We agree here. Saying you should be able to build a website with 0 CSS, technically, probably, but nobody should use that website. It's not going to be a good experience. It's not going to be good for users. But if you could build a website with 0JS, suddenly everybody is shouting your name and Alex Russell's personally congratulating you. I think that's silly. Using JavaScript wrong and using too much JavaScript is obviously a problem, but using 0 JavaScript is silly. I want to be clear. I'm not calling out things like HTMX or LiveView. Those are awesome because they use JavaScript. The reason those solutions are as good as they are and allow you on the back end to change the contents of the client is because they run a JavaScript bundle that they built for you that does all of the linking and handles all that. So you personally don't have to write the JavaScript, but those experiences only work because they are running JavaScript. And that's what's frustrating to me is the best 0JS solutions are better with JS. And there are very, very, very few websites that can't provide a better experience with a little bit of JavaScript sprinkled in. I've always been hesitant about this goal and about this particular strong stance. And I know people like Rich Harris are somewhat similarly aligned with me, where almost all web experiences can be improved significantly by JavaScript, and we should embrace that. We should be willing to ship JavaScript to make better experiences for our users, and we shouldn't shy away from it because it's a big scary file and another thing that goes in our app. Would it be cool if more forms worked before the JavaScript showed up? Sure, but I really don't think it's as big of a problem as we like to say it is. And to be clear, going from 2 megabytes of JavaScript to 0 kilobytes of JavaScript is going to be better, but it's not going to be that much better than going from 2 megs of JavaScript to 100 kilobytes of JavaScript. And I feel like the fear and the awful experience that is those gigantic bloated pile of crap JS apps has resulted in us swinging way too far the other way. Reality's somewhere in the middle here, and that's okay. It's actually pretty cool because we can take lessons and opportunities from both sides where, like in Remix, it's possible to submit on a form without JavaScript loading, which is dope. Even though we're writing JavaScript and we can load JavaScript in to give you a good client experience, you don't have to ship it. And that's nice. You probably should. And there's probably going to be functionality in your app that breaks if you don't. And generally, you shouldn't be building Remix in a 0JS mindset. You should be building Remix in a good performance and experience for your users mindset. Another point Maple just made in chat, which is funny because this was inspired by Maple, is that accessibility is often improved with JavaScript. And there's a lot of weird behaviors in the browser that make it inaccessible without something like JavaScript to help. And that is absolutely the case with the experiences I've had. On top of that, there are great frameworks and solutions like Remix and Next and Gatsby and Astro and all of these technologies that make it easier to build a good, accessible, performant website that might ship more JavaScript than we like, but then that bundle caches. And from that point forward, the user has an incredible experience. And up until that point, they have a slightly degraded one. But that point isn't too far off. And getting there shouldn't be too hard. I love removing things that are unnecessary. It's like my whole jam. I've been infrastructure free effectively now for 3 years. I avoid classes in JavaScript entirely if I can. I remove the word this from my JavaScript vocabulary. Not only is JavaScript necessary, it is essential for building good, accessible, performant, quality experiences for users on the web. And we shouldn't strive for 0 kilobytes of JavaScript just because it's possible. I am more than happy to die on this hill because it seems like a a lot of people don't think it's necessary. But I will say with pride that I will always have a little bit of JavaScript in the applications that I ship, because the applications I ship are trying to be good, not trying to be flexes for Twitter. So feel free to go make fun of my bundle sizes all you want. I don't care, because my users are happy and my users have an incredible experience on the applications that we built. Hope this is a helpful rant. If you want to learn more about using JavaScript incorrectly, I'll pin a video about that there that you can check out if you haven't already. Thank you guys as always. Peace, nerds.